Thank you very much. Good morning, and thank you for coming. As mentioned, my name is Michael Josephson, and I'm president of the Joseph and Edna Josephson Institute of Ethics, which is a nonprofit 501c3 corporation dedicated to studying and teaching ethical behavior. Since 1992, the Institute has issued a biennial report on the ethics of American youth. It has revealed significant erosion of values, including high levels of dishonesty. I'm here today to present the findings of a whole new study, a study that was really motivated by our previous studies of high school students, which is designed to determine whether or not there's a relationship between the character and the attitudes and the behavior patterns formed in high school and adult behavior. The relationship between high school attitudes and behavior and later adult conduct is, of course, very relevant, because if in fact there is the connection, as frankly we're going to show you there is, it gives greater impetus to the need to address how we are dealing with young people and the values they're forming before they enter the workplace and before they enter positions of authority and responsibility. We believe that our findings are worthy of the nation's attention because they provide compelling evidence that there is a significant deterioration in the values of Americans, especially on issues like honesty and integrity. I know that's a strong statement, and I want to avoid the tone of sort of this excessive, the sky is falling kind of alarmism. But the fact is that the study shows indisputably that the disposition toward lying, cheating, and fraud is particularly evident in teens and young adults. We define young adults as 24 and under. And it seems reasonable to conclude that unless conscious parental and educational interventions alter negative dispositions and behavior patterns, the amount of dishonesty and corruption in our social institutions is likely to increase in the future. But three things to us were major and worthy of major attention. First of all, cynicism, and we define cynicism as the belief that a person has to lie or cheat in order to succeed. If somebody believes a person has to lie or cheat in order to succeed, we call that person a cynic with regard to the idea of honesty. And the significance of that is it has turned out that that belief is one of the most significant and reliable predictors of dishonest behavior in teens, young adults, and mature adults. Why should we care? Because cynics are much more likely to cheat on every single item than those who are not cynical. The second major finding is that younger generations are significantly more likely to engage in all forms of dishonest conduct than those who are older. They're not only more likely to be cynical, but even the non-cynical youth, even though those young people who did not report cynicism, still reported misconduct at significant multiples as opposed to the people who are just above them in terms of the age. The third major finding is also one that is significant, and that is if people, regardless of their age, we asked them whether they cheated in high school and if they remembered back. Of those who said they cheated at least 2 or more times in high school, again, the increment was anywhere from 3 to 5 times greater. The likelihood that they would lie on an insurance claim, lie on their tax return, lie to a friend, lie to get their kid into a school, no matter what the question is. In other words, character formed in high school matters. It matters the behavior patterns that they form, the coping mechanisms that they adopt, and of course the attitude. So the next question is, why is this happening? While there are no simple or certain explanations for the cause of the continuing erosion of ethical values, we think there are 4 major factors. The first is that many of today's parents are less effective than their predecessors. They're less effective because some are just too busy or frankly self-absorbed to be informed and involved in the development of their children's values and character. Another group of parents are simply overwhelmed by the enormous number of factors that affect today young people's values. The second major factor we think that contributes to this problem is a continually escalating emphasis on performance results in school, sports, and business, which has generated a survival mentality that is used to justify a whatever it takes to win kind of attitude. The third major factor is that there is a pervasive entitlement mentality that has generated selfish and predatory conduct unencumbered by moral restraints. Finally, values are eroded by the failure of parents, teachers, and employers to impose appropriate consequences on those who violate legal and ethical standards. We have become a society with endless free crime zones, with situations where people are allowed to engage in misconduct, and for one reason or another, whether we're trying to avoid litigation, whether we just don't have a taste for confrontation, or whether we're genuinely permissive, the fact remains that most of the kinds of misconduct we've described, including cheating, goes unpunished in any significant way. Now, the good news is the situation is not hopeless, and we are not helpless. Every one of the major causes of the problems can be dealt with by concerted strategic efforts to make dishonest conduct less desirable, more difficult, and more risky. Every parent, teacher, or manager can create an ethical culture at home, in the school, and at the office by the use of a simple acronym we call TEAM, which is to teach, enforce, advocate, and model the kinds of values we want to see not only in our children, but the children who will marry our children.